Hi everyone, I am Toga, and today we're going to be doing a yin class for our shoulders and our arms. So you won't need a bolster necessarily for this class unless you want a lot of extra support. So if you have one and you want to have it nearby, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you might want 2 blocks, maybe a blanket, especially if you have sensitive knees, and make sure you're in comfortable clothes. Feel free to get cozy, get comfy. We're not going to be flowing. In yin, we hold poses for 2 to 7 minutes depending on the pose, and we really try to find our edge. We are looking for that level 3 stretch. If you are starting at a 1 where you're not really feeling any kind of a stretch at all, going all the way up to a 5 where you're really getting a stretch. In yin, we're looking for something right in the middle, about a 3. So if you are ready, you have all your props, you're in a quiet, safe space, I invite you to meet me on your mat. You can go ahead and come into a comfortable seated position. Maybe you close down your eyes. Maybe you softly gaze down the tip of your nose, dropping into your breathing here. Paying attention to your inhales and your exhales. And as we move through our practice today, see if you can come into these poses with a sense of release, looking for any areas where you can let go of any tension, let go of any stress, and just melt into these poses. Big inhale in, and long exhale out. And when you're ready, we're going to start in a wide-legged child's pose here. So you might want to do this on your bolster. If child's pose is a little bit more challenging for you to get into, you can lie directly on top of your bolster here, and that's going to offer you some support. But if you don't want your bolster, you want to maybe use blocks instead. You can have one block in between your feet, maybe the other one is supporting your chest or supporting your third eye right underneath your forehead. Maybe you don't want any blocks at all. Maybe you just want a blanket underneath your knees. My mat's super thick, so I'm not going to be using a blanket for this. But take whatever version of this is working for your body today. Go ahead and extend your knees to either side of the mat, sitting back on your seat here. And then you're going to just walk your hands forward all the way, extending your arms. And slowly sinking down, pushing your hips back. Maybe your glutes come to rest on your heels. Maybe your forehead rests against the mat or rests on a block. Wherever you are, whatever props you're using, allow yourself to just melt into this pose. Feel your shoulder blades rolling down your back. Feel your fingers extended, and find that level 3 stretch here wherever you are. Looking for some sensation, not no sensation, but definitely not any pain. And knowing that we'll hold this pose for about 2 minutes here. Unclench your jaw, unstick your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Check in with your breathing, see if you're holding on anywhere. Use your inhales and your exhales to maybe get a little bit deeper in this pose. Feeling free to come up and adjust at any point if you need to add or remove props. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, you can walk your hands back a little bit, slowly pulling yourself up into a tabletop position here. You can bring your legs in towards the mat, coming into a neutral spine. Breathe in here for a moment, feeling any sensation, letting your body settle. Letting your wrists being stacked underneath your shoulders, your knees stacked under your hips. And just breathing here. And then when you're ready, setting up for our next pose, which is going to be melted heart. You might know it as puppy. So you're just going to walk those hands out all the way to the top of your mat. And then sinking down low. If puppy's really intense and you want to come into child's pose again, if that felt better, you can do that. You can also use some blocks here. Perhaps you bring them to the top of the mat where they can act as a little bit of support, bringing the earth closer. This might be helpful for getting a little deeper into this pose, lowering your forehead down to the mat with your hands extended. Your hips are going to stay up this time. Maybe your forehead touches the mat, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you don't want those blocks. Maybe you want a block under your forehead instead. And maybe a blanket underneath your knees if you don't have as thick of a mat as this one. But feel free to move around here and find whatever version of this works best for you. And if it feels a little intense, if you're feeling some sensation here, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that level 3 stretch. We're looking to find our edge. So if you're at your edge and you're feeling like you want to come out of it, try to breathe in deeply, acknowledging that sensation, acknowledging that feeling. And then knowing you can come out at any point and adjust or give yourself a rest. Being aware of what your body needs and what your body is calling for. Check in with yourself. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw. Make sure you're not grinding your teeth. See if there's any tense spots that you can work to release a little bit. See if there's any way you can make yourself 10% more comfortable here while still accessing that edge. next inhale, lift your head up if it's touching the mat or a prop, and just gently walk yourself back, coming right into an embryo pose. So you can lift up and sit up if you want, or if you just want to lean back, lying on your knees and letting your shoulders round forward, pressing your forehead against the mat or a prop here, releasing those shoulders, releasing those arms, acknowledging any sensation that might be going through your body and where it might be in your body. And on your next inhale, you can walk yourself forward. You can sit up in a seat, or if you want, you can snake your body forward, coming in to set up for a sphinx. So outstretching those legs behind you, adjusting if you want to get a little bit more length in your legs, having your forearms pressed parallel against the mat. Shift around, find what works for you here. If you want, you can take your bolster here. If this is a more challenging position for you, you can put your bolster underneath your chest so that it can act a little bit like a support here. And then you can extend your arms, coming into this variation on seal. You can also, if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can remove the bolster and come into seal, which is just extending your arms. So depending on what kind of stretch you're looking for today, those are two options. Or if you just want to come into a traditional Sphinx, I invite you to do that too. So play around, find what's working for your body today, and then settle in. Release your glutes. If you're feeling any pain in that lower back, gently come out of this, make a little pillow for your hands, and just come into that crocodile pose, resting your forehead on your hands, and then just maybe rotating and rolling out on your belt line. If you're feeling a little bit of pressure in that lower back, you can activate that abdomen, pulling in your belly button a little bit towards the spine to release some of that pressure on the lower back. Unclench your jaw, unfurrow your brow. Find a way to make yourself a little bit more comfortable here, even though this can be a rather intense stretch for some. Another option is to walk those forearms forward a little bit. This can be helpful if you feel any kind of discomfort in the forearms. It can help take some of that pressure off the lower back too. Breathe in here. Exhale. Adjusting wherever you need. Finding the version of this pose that's going to work for your body today. Inhale here. And on your exhale, you're going to lower down to the mat, coming into that crocodile pose, stacking one hand on top of another and resting your forehead down. Let everything release here. Let your lower back release. Let your arms release. Breathe into any areas that feel staticky or sticky, acknowledging any sensation and where it might be living. it feels good, you can gently rock across the belt line, or maybe you lift your feet up towards the ceiling and do some very slow, very gentle windshield wipes here. Beautiful. Beautiful work. And when you're ready, you can extend those legs again. And now we'll be setting up for open wing. If you have any rotator cuff issues or any issues with your shoulder girdle, I'm going to show you a different version of this that's a little bit gentler and still is going to be getting into that shoulder stretch we're going for. So if that applies to you, you're going to turn over onto your back. And I'll demonstrate with that left arm because it's a little bit closer to camera. So you'll extend your legs, you can extend that right arm, and then your left arm, your working arm, is going to just bend at the elbow, and you're going to take that left hand and slip it towards the small of your back, kind of coming into that natural curve in your back and your body. If you can't fit it in, or if that's not how your body is built, you can just put it underneath, you can put it to the side, just sort of play around here and find where it feels good to live for a little bit. You can adjust your shoulders, just do whatever you can do here to make it work and make it feel accessible in your body. And then you would just close down your eyes or softly gaze down the tip of your nose, and you can relax here in this position. So if this is where you're at today, this is perfect. This is a great way to still get a slight stretch in that shoulder. And maybe you stay here. If you'd like to try a different version of open wing, you'll extend, we'll start with the right arm. So if you're on your back, just switch to that right arm. That way you'll be able to see me on this side. So I'm going to extend my right arm. I'm going to take my left hand and place it on the mat. And then I'm going to roll using that left hand to help press me over towards this right side of my body. And maybe my feet stack and maybe I stay right here. This is perfect. Or maybe I lift up that left leg and set that left foot down. Now your left foot might not come all the way down to the floor or a mat, and this is where a block can be really useful. You can put that block right here and use that as some support. Wherever you are, wherever your open wing is, settle in. Make sure you're not in any pain and you're not experiencing any numbness or twinging in this right shoulder here. If it is, try that other version I showed you and see if that works a little bit better. You can keep that left hand on the mat, or if you want, you can extend it up towards the sky and then lower it down so that it comes to rest against the small of your back. This is just another option, another version here. By no means do you have to do any of these. There's just a multitude of different ways you can get into this pose, so pick whatever one is working for you today. And remember to look for that edge, that level 3 stretch, but also know yourself and know that if you have a tendency to do too much or go too fast or go too hard, maybe you pull back a little bit. And if you're someone who maybe naturally pulls back, who likes to sit and wait and watch a little bit more before going hard all the time, maybe you push yourself a little bit more. And wherever you are, take a deep breath and exhale it. You had that hand behind your back, maybe you slowly bring it over, pressing that left palm against the mat, gently rolling yourself back over onto your stomach. If you're already on your back, having that different variation, you can slide that hand out from underneath, and just wherever you are, whether you're on your back or your stomach, go ahead and extend those arms down by your side, resting one cheek onto one side of the mat, and breathing into any areas where you're feeling sensation, acknowledging any intensity, any static you might be feeling in this rebound. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and set up for the other side. So we'll be doing that left side, that left arm now. So your two sides might be different. If you did one variation on the other side, you might need to adjust for this side. So move around, do whatever you need to do to get comfortable here. And then when you're ready, you can extend that left arm, placing that right hand on the mat, and then gently turning yourself over onto your left side, maybe staying right here, maybe lifting that right foot up and bending at the knee, placing your hand down on the mat, offering some support here. Maybe your foot comes to a block, maybe it comes to the floor, maybe you're on your back with your arm bent. Take whatever version of this is working on this side of your body for you. Find that edge and then see if you can settle into it. Your right hand can stay on the mat, offering up a bit of a kickstand support for you. Or if you want, you can inhale that arm high and then turn it around so that it drapes on the small of your back. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw or grinding your teeth. See if there's anywhere else in your body or even in your mind where you can let go. And on your next inhale, wherever you are, if you had that right hand behind you, bring it back to the mat. Gently roll yourself over onto your abdomen here. And wherever you are, release both of your hands down by your side. Maybe you turn your cheek to the other side of the mat now and release. Breathing into any sensation, acknowledging it, not as good or bad, not assigning any judgment or value on it, but just being there with it. And then when you're ready, setting up for our final pose, which will be on our back. So you can just turn over, you can just flip yourself over onto your back, or maybe you're already on your back. And wherever you are, inhale deeply. Maybe you have your legs bent, knees pointed towards the ceiling, arms by your side. Pause here for a moment, check in with your body, see how you're feeling, see if there's any areas where there's still some tension. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into our final pose before Shavasana, which is stirrup, which is basically happy baby. So I'll offer a couple different options for this. If stirrup is just not within your wheelhouse and you're really not feeling it today, you can take a couple different options here. Maybe you want some movement. You can do some windshield wipers, so you'd walk your feet out to the far edges of the mat and just gently and slowly drop those knees back and forth. And if that's what you are feeling called to do, I invite you to do that. But if you want to try happy baby or this version stirrup, you're going to lift your legs up and then you're going to place your hands either on the backs of your thighs or perhaps the outside of your feet. Maybe you take your peace fingers and loop it around your toes. It's really up to you, whatever feels comfortable. And then wherever you are, gently draw those knees in towards your armpits, seeing if you can keep that sacrum, which is that larger flat bone at the base of your spine, seeing if you can keep that sacrum pressing against the mat here. Inhale, exhale, finding your edge here, working our arms in perhaps a little bit of a different way, but still keeping them active as we draw our knees down towards the earth, towards our armpits. Knowing that at any time, if this isn't working for you or isn't right in your body, you can come out of it. Unclenching your jaw, unfurrowing your brow. See where you're feeling any sensation. It might be in a different area of your body than you felt for the rest of practice, and that's okay. Send your breath there wherever it is. See if you can get a little bit deeper while still having that access to ease. Where else can you release to give yourself a little less tension here? And when you're ready, on an exhale, you can drop those legs back down to the mat. If you're already doing those windshield wipers, feel free to keep doing them, or you can extend into your Shavasana. If you're just coming out of that stirrup, walk your feet to the wide edges of your mat and gently rock them over to one side of the mat and then the other. Acknowledging any sensations that might be happening in your body right now. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and extend your legs, extend your arms, maybe you walk your shoulders underneath, resting in your Shavasana. If you prefer to do this seated or even standing, take whatever version of this integration time works best for you. And as you settle in here, check in. If you're holding on anywhere else, now is the time to let go. If you can stay in Shavasana for 5 or 10 more minutes, please do that. Give yourself the time you need to rest and to integrate. But if you're coming out of this, gently bring some movement back into your fingers and your toes. Maybe you stretch overhead as if you're waking up for the first time. And then gently roll over to either side of the mat, placing a palm underneath and rolling yourself up to an upright seated position, coming into a comfortable seat here. On an inhale, maybe you raise your arms up one more time. And exhale, bring them into heart center, bowing your head, thanking yourself for taking this time to come to your mat today. Offering gratitude and remembering that anything you want or need is right here inside you. You just have to ask for it. I'm Toga. Thank you for practicing with me today. Be well.